In every corner of the world, there are secrets, stories that exist beyond understanding. Tonight, we uncover three terrifying haunted tales: the shrinking room, the narrow hall, the walls are breathing. This is episode 109 of Dynamic Dark. Put on your headphones and let the fear begin. Today's first story is The Shrinking Room. It started subtly at first. Ethan didn't notice anything unusual. But slowly, the walls began to feel closer, as if they were leaning in to watch him. The air grew heavier with every breath, and a cold shiver ran down his spine. He could sense it, something in the shadows, black and featureless, lingering in the corners of the room. Each blink made the space feel tighter, more suffocating, and the faint flicker of the lamp only made the shadows dance in ways that were impossible. Ethan tried to tell himself it was his imagination, but the feeling of being watched didn't go away. He took a step back, and the floor creaked unnaturally beneath him. His own heartbeat sounded deafening, echoing through the room like a warning. And then, in the darkest corner, he saw it, a black figure, still, silent, staring. It didn't move, yet he could feel its presence pressing closer, as if the room itself had become alive, aware of him, waiting. Every blink made the space tighter. The boy could feel the walls closing in slowly, almost as if the room itself was breathing around him. A cold draft brushed against his neck, and he shivered, though no window was open. The air seemed thick, heavy, pressing down with every heartbeat, making it harder for him to breathe. He could hear whispers, soft and distorted, echoing off the walls. They weren't words, just murmurs, unintelligible, yet somehow directed at him. The shadows in the corners of the room seemed to twitch and stretch unnaturally, and he felt something tall watching him, still, black, humanoid, unmoving, yet impossibly present. The boy took a cautious step back, heart pounding, hands trembling. Every flicker of the lamp cast the figure in sharper relief, and the space around him felt smaller with each passing second. He tried to tell himself it was imagination, but the whispers, the weight of the room, the tall black ghost, it was real. He couldn't escape its gaze, and the walls seemed to lean closer, as if to trap him inside forever. I tried to open the door, but it was farther than before. The boy stepped forward, heart hammering, only to realize the ceiling seemed lower, pressing down on him like the room itself was suffocating him. Each breath felt heavy, as if the air had grown thick and sticky, making it hard to move. He looked around frantically, and that's when he saw it, a tall, slender black ghost, gliding silently across the room. Its impossibly long arms reached toward the ceiling and floor, moving unnaturally, stretching the space in ways that made him dizzy. It didn't move quickly, but every second it drew closer, and the boy could feel its presence in every corner of the room. The walls seemed to pulse, breathing along with the ghost. Every step he took backward was met with a floor that creaked as if mocking him. His hands trembled, sweat dripping down his face. The boy wanted to scream, but no sound came. It wasn't just the ghost, it was the room, alive, twisting, shrinking, and him trapped inside it. In the far corner, the boy finally saw it, a tall, black figure, featureless, staring at him. Its edges weren't solid, they seemed to ripple and shift, like smoke or liquid, constantly changing form. Every movement it made was unnatural, bending the space around it, making the corner seem farther, deeper, almost endless. He froze, unable to move, as the air grew heavier, thicker, pressing down on him. The whispers from before returned, distorted and louder now, echoing off the walls. The boy's heartbeat pounded in his ears, each thump syncing with the subtle, almost imperceptible movements of the figure. The ghost's shape seemed to reach toward him, stretching in impossible ways, yet never fully crossing the distance. Every blink of the flickering lamp revealed a slightly different form, making him question reality itself. The boy wanted to scream, to run, but the room had become a trap, and the shifting black figure seemed to know every move he might make. The walls moved faster now, the boy could feel them closing in, pressing on him with a weight that made it hard to even breathe. Each step felt heavier, like the floor itself was resisting him. The room had grown unpredictable, alive, twisting in ways that made no sense. The shadows around him multiplied, creeping closer with every heartbeat. In the darkest corners, hollow watcher figures emerged. Tall, bulky, completely featureless black entities that absorbed light and seemed immovable, yet their presence was suffocating. The boy could feel them watching from every angle, their silence louder than any scream. He tried to run, but the door was farther than before, the ceiling lower, and the floor uneven. Every flicker of the lamp revealed new forms lurking just beyond his vision, their oppressive presence wrapping around him like a suffocating fog. The boy's breath came in ragged gasps, and he realized there was no escape. The room had become a trap, and the hollow watchers were patient, waiting for him to falter. Then the boy realized the room wasn't shrinking. He was growing. Every inch of him expanded, pressing against the walls, the ceiling, the floor. The familiar corners now seemed impossibly distant, yet at the same time, painfully close. Panic surged as he realized there was no space left to escape. From above and below, whale crawler figures emerged, mid-height humanoid ghosts, semi-transparent, black and mist-like, crawling along walls and ceiling. Their movements were unnatural, slithering and creeping as if the room itself had become their playground. Each movement made the boy feel smaller, trapped, suffocating under their oppressive presence. He clawed at the walls, gasping for air, but the space was gone. Every flicker of the lamp revealed more whale crawlers, emerging from floor cracks and ceiling shadows, surrounding him from all sides. The boy's heart pounded like a drum, each beat syncing with the creeping tendrils of darkness. The room was alive, the ghosts were patient, and he was completely trapped. Today's second story is the narrow hall. The hallway was narrower than Lucas remembered. Each step made his chest tighten, as if the walls themselves were breathing around him. He had to squeeze through carefully, brushing his shoulders against the peeling wallpaper and cracked wooden panels. His heart pounded with every step, echoing in the tight space like a drum. A faint draft whispered past him, carrying an almost imperceptible chill that made his skin crawl. The light from his flashlight flickered, casting long, both shadows along the walls. Every corner seemed darker than the last, and Lucas felt the unnerving sensation of being watched, though nothing was there, at least, nothing visible. He paused for a moment, catching his breath, and realized the hall felt longer than it should have. With each blink, the space seemed to stretch, elongating unnaturally, and Lucas' fear grew. Something lurked in the darkness, just beyond sight, patient and silent, waiting for him to move forward. I thought I saw someone at the end, but it was too dark to make out any features. The boy froze for a moment, his breath caught in his throat as his eyes strained to focus on the far end of the hallway. The darkness there felt thicker, heavier, as if it was swallowing the light itself. He took a slow step forward, his heartbeat echoing loudly in the narrow space. The walls pressed against him, making every movement feel restricted, suffocating. The faint light flickered again, and for a brief second, he saw it more clearly, a tall figure, completely black, standing motionless at the end of the hall. The boy blinked, and it was gone, or maybe it had moved. The silence grew unbearable, broken only by the sound of his own breathing. He felt it watching him, even though he couldn't see its face. The hallway stretched endlessly ahead, and with every second, the presence at the end felt closer, as if it had never been far at all. The walls seemed to breathe, inching closer. Even in the vast hallway, the boy could feel the space shifting, as if something invisible was slowly tightening around him. The air grew heavier, pressing against his chest, making every breath slower, harder. He looked down, and that's when he felt it, the shadows weren't still. They were crawling along the floor, stretching unnaturally, moving toward him like living things. The dim light flickered above, and with every flicker, the shadows changed position, creeping closer without a sound. The boy stepped back, his heartbeat racing, echoing through the massive hall. The emptiness no longer felt empty, it felt occupied. He couldn't see them clearly, but he knew something was there, surrounding him, closing in from every direction. The floor beneath him felt unstable, almost alive. Panic began to take over. The wide space that once felt open now felt like a trap. The shadows reached closer, brushing against his feet, cold and unnatural. He tried to move faster, but no matter where he turned, the feeling remained, he wasn't alone anymore. A tall, featureless figure emerged from the darkness, gliding silently, closer with every heartbeat. In the vast hallway, the boy could see it clearly now, far too tall, far too still, its presence cutting through the emptiness like something that didn't belong. It didn't walk. It didn't run. It simply moved. Smooth, unnatural, as if it was floating just above the ground. With every flicker of the dim light, it appeared closer, its height becoming more terrifying, its form stretching slightly, bending in ways that made the boy's vision blur. The boy's breath became uneven, shallow. His chest tightened as the massive space around him no longer felt safe. The echo of his own heartbeat filled the hall, and somehow the figure seemed to match it. Every beat it came closer. He tried to step back, but his legs felt heavy, as if the floor itself was holding him in place. The crawling shadows from before retreated, making way for this one entity. It was different, stronger, aware. And as it glided closer, the boy realized something far worse. This thing wasn't searching for him, it already knew exactly where he was. I turned around, but the hallway stretched endlessly. The boy's breath caught in his throat as he realized there was no end in sight, just an infinite corridor fading into darkness. The vast space around him no longer felt open, it felt like a trap designed to keep him inside. He took a step forward, his heartbeat echoing loudly through the empty hall. But with every step he took, something felt wrong. The distance didn't change, the hallway didn't get shorter. Instead, the darkness ahead seemed to shift, and from within it, shapes began to form. Every step forward brought another shadow closer. Tall, black figures appeared in the distance, silent, featureless, watching. Some stood still, others moved slowly, gliding without sound. The boy turned again, only to see more of them behind him now, blocking the path he came from. Panic took over. He was surrounded. No matter which direction he looked, the hallway stretched forever, filled with these towering black entities. His chest tightened, His breathing became uneven. The realization hit him harder than anything else. There was no exit, no escape, and the shadows were closing in from every side. Then the boy saw it, his own shadow, standing in front of him. But it wasn't normal. It was tall, completely black, featureless, and it was facing him. Not mimicking him, just staring back, perfectly still. His breath stopped. The massive hallway fell silent, as if everything around him was waiting. The towering black ghosts that had surrounded him suddenly froze, no longer moving, no longer advancing. Their attention wasn't on him anymore, it was on that shadow. The boy took a step back, but the shadow didn't follow. It stayed where it was, watching him. Slowly, it began to move, not like a reflection, but like something alive. It lifted its head slightly, its form stretching unnaturally, growing taller, stronger, more defined. And then it hit him. The hallway, the endless space, the shadows, they weren't trapping him. They were changing him. His body felt heavy, his movements slowed, his own shadow fading beneath his feet. The realization was worse than anything else. He wasn't trying to escape anymore. He had become the one trapped here forever. Today's third story is The Walls Are Breathing. It started with whispers, soft, almost like the walls themselves were alive. Maya paused, her breath slowing as she tried to listen more carefully. The room was quiet, yet the sound lingered, faint, distorted, as if something was speaking from inside the walls. She stepped closer, her fingers brushing against the surface. The walls felt strange, not cold, not solid, but almost warm, as if something was moving beneath them. The whispers grew slightly louder, overlapping, forming sounds that almost felt like words, but never fully clear. Maya pulled her hand back, her heart beginning to race. The air felt heavier now, pressing against her chest. The silence between the whispers felt worse than the sound itself, like something was waiting, listening to her every move. Then she realized something unsettling. The whispers weren't coming from one place. They were everywhere, surrounding her, closing in, as if the room itself had become alive. Every wall throbbed with a slow, steady rhythm, like a heartbeat she could feel in her chest. The sound wasn't just something she heard. It pulsed through the air, through the floor, through her body, sinking with her own heartbeat until she couldn't tell which one was hers anymore. She looked around the vast room, and despite its size, it felt tighter with every passing second. The walls moved subtly at first, expanding and contracting, as if something enormous was breathing behind them. The cracks along the surface widened slightly, rising and falling with each pulse. Her breath became uneven, shallow. The rhythm grew stronger, louder, almost aggressive. It echoed across the large space, making the room feel alive, aware, focused entirely on her. The silence between each pulse felt unbearable, like the room was pausing, waiting. She took a step back, her eyes fixed on the walls as they continued to throb. With every beat, she felt closer to them, even though she hadn't moved. And deep down, a terrifying thought settled in whatever was behind those walls. It wasn't just a line. It was getting closer. Scene 3. Panic builds. Narration. I tried to move, but the floor seemed to stretch, the walls closed in more with every step. Scene 4. Shadow revealed. Narration. From the darkest corner, a figure emerged, black, featureless, and towering. Scene 5. The room is alive. Narration. The walls weren't just closing, they were moving with intention, breathing around me, trapping me. And then she understood, she wasn't trapped in the room. She was inside the walls themselves. The shadows weren't around her, they were her. This was episode 109 of Dynamic Dark. Which story ruined your night? Tell us in the comments. The most terrifying comment will be pinned. Episode 110 is coming. Creepypasta horror stories are even darker and more cursed. Like, subscribe and press the bell icon. If you dare to step into the darkness again. Everyday new horror episode at 7:45 p.m. only on Dynamic Dark.